Hello, it's Lou Collins. Today I've got another template video for you. So this one is the arrow fold card template. Now we have done this one before on Craft World, but this is a different take on it. So using a similar template and getting a different look. Now what I'm going to be using is my new Textures Wildflowers collection. This has got some beautiful large butterflies in it. So I'd like to put one of these on the front of this template here. I'm going to stamp it and cut it out. And then I've also got some lovely words as well, and the papers I'm going to be using for the butterfly too. So for the base of this, I'm going to be using white cardstock, just plain white cardstock, because I really want that butterfly to pop. I want the colours to really show up. So by using white cardstock as well, it's very easy for you to see which folds I'm making. So print your template off, and you can do it like this. You can just use your repositionable spray glue or something similar just to hold your template onto your cardstock. Or if you prefer not to print them off, you just want to follow the lines, you can have a go at creating your own template instead using the download that's on Craft World. So I'm just going to go in and cut the edges, because with the Craft World templates, any of the solid lines are going to be cut lines, and any of the dotted lines are going to be score lines. Now what we do have on this particular trimmer, because this is a Creative Craft Products trimmer, this one has both scoring and cutting blades. So I can do, for my template, I can do all the lines with just one tool, but you may want to use, instead of this, if you don't have this, if you have a trimmer that doesn't have a scoring blade, you may want to use something like a scoreboard to get those dotted lines instead. So I've just taken away the pieces from around the edge, because this is a nice solid, it's about a 300 GSM cardstock, so I'm going to save these pieces. That's great for sentiment pieces and such. And then with my template still in place on the cardstock, I'm going to pop this back into my trimmer. I'm not going to be using the orange blade here, I'm going to be using this white one, and this is my scoring blade. At this stage, if you'd rather, pop this into your scoreboard instead to get these lines. So I'm going for my first line through there, and then I'm going to line up all of these kind of angled lines as well, one at a time, and run over these. And I always run over a couple of times because I need to go through both my template and of course through the cardstock underneath, which is actually quite thick. So there's a smaller one. Just get through that, and then repeat the exact same on the other side. There we go, so all my score lines are done. If you turn that over, not sure if you can see in this light, but I can see I've got all of my score lines in there in the right place. So I'm happy with those. So I put my scoreboard away, or my scoring tool trimmer away. I can now remove the template, and because it's got the repositionable adhesive on it, it's not on the paper, it's on the template here, so it's not on my card base because I sprayed it onto here. I let it go tacky a couple of seconds before I placed it on. So this is going to remain tacky, that's why it's called repositionable. So I can then put this onto something glossy like a piece of packaging, maybe a sheet of acetate, and keep this and reuse it again another time in the same way. Now what I have got is the centre fold, so first of all fold that down, just like so, and then we've got these three lines either side of the centre line there. So the first one I'm going to fold back. The first on each side goes back, like so. The next one folds upwards, so that's going to be a valley fold. So you've got a mountain fold, then a valley fold on either side. Push those in, you start to see your arrow coming together. And then the last one is again a mountain fold, so it's going into itself, into the centre, behind the point of the card there. So you've got this effect, like so, which is really pretty, and that will of course still stand on its own. If it's not on a slippy mat, it stands on its own absolutely fine. Now as I said, I'm going to use that beautiful butterfly, and I'm going to be placing it onto some of the patterned papers that I've got here. So let's choose, I think I want to go with the rainbow. That's a gorgeous one. Let's go with this one. So I want a nice deep colour that's going to really stand out on the white cardstock, and I need a solid black ink. So first things first, let's grab my stamp and put it into my stamping platform, which is just up here. There we go. Now while this is has not got any ink on it. I'm going to decide which part of this pattern paper I want to use. So do I want to go with red and orange, or do I want to go with blue? I quite like the blue and purple actually. Quite like those colours. So I'm going a bit in the middle there. Let's bring it to the edge slightly, save a little bit of paper where we can. The pink and orange looks equally as beautiful. I've used that on another card project before though. So just place it nice and clean on your paper, decide which colourways you want to use, and then you can pick that up. Now what this is going to do is give you, the outline is going to be black, the detail is going to be black, but through that detail you're still going to see that ombre effect. So ink this up with black. I'm using an older ink pad here. This one isn't quite as juicy anymore, so I expect to need to use this a couple of times, and that's why I use my stamping platform as much as possible, because that means I can repeat stamp this, reapply the ink, restamp it, and I know that it's always going to be in exactly the same place. So let's just get the very edges there, press down all over that butterfly. It's a beautiful detailed butterfly, really nice size as well. And then I'm going to add another layer of black ink just to make that as nice and deep and solid as possible. So pop that over there like so. Perfect, so that's nice and solid. I just missed a little bit up there. So lovely, happy with that. So pop that butterfly back there, and then we need to cut this out. Now what I love about this stamp and die set, as I said, it's the Textures Wildflowers. The die set is just under here, so this one here, so it's the Wildflower Editions die set. The butterfly on the front looks tiny in comparison, but it's actually the same size, and it also doesn't give you a really big outline either. In fact, it doesn't give you any outline at all if you line it up just so. So you're going to need some low tack tape with this just to be able to hold it steady. There's mine. This one again, I get this from CraftStash. This tape is 3 rolls, I think, for $4.99. That includes the dispenser as well. So I'm just going to put my head over this a little bit, as much as I can, and just make sure that that's as lined up as I possibly can get it. Nice and even everywhere. Just have a look around all the corners, making sure that on every side you've got the same sort of distance between all the detail. You should be good to go. So I'll just die cut this. Now when I remove the butterfly from the die, I'm just going to be really careful not to allow that tape to peel anything off. And as you see there, we've got that lovely ombre effect through the centre, going from blue to the pink and purples. Just remove my tape because I will reuse those another time. Pop my die back in the packet, and let's see how striking this looks on that white card. So just on there, see how much that stands out absolutely beautifully. That's what I wanted. I didn't want it to be sort of drowned out by any colour behind. I wanted it nice and white, really bright colour. So then before I stick this down, I need to think about my sentiment. Now I have bought in, I really love these sentiments. So I've got here Birthday Love, which is a nice slim one. They're all a really good size. Just there, you can see I've used it with some red before, so I need to pop the red pieces out. Not cleaning up as I'm putting away here, obviously. So just pop those out. And I'm thinking, using my scraps, I'm going to have the blue and the purple that we've got, or the mauve colour that we've got in the butterfly, as a two-tone sentiment. So what I'll do is I'll cut the first layer, the complete die here in one colour, probably the blue, and then I'll cut, or I might do it the other way around actually. I might cut it all in the purple and then cut one of the words out in the blue. Either way, I need to cut this in both purple and blue first, and then we'll come back and we'll snip those about, and we can effectively actually get 2 sentiments out if we're careful. So there's my 2 words. Let's pop that on the white so you can see it clearly. Birthday Love in both purple and blue. And they're kind of just stronger shades of the blue and the purple we've got here. Now, because we've got blue at the top, I'm thinking the word love wants to be in blue here. So the base colour blue. And then the word birthday being higher is going to be purple, just to be a reflection of these colours. So they are contrasting on each other. Now, of the 2 words, the easiest one to place is the love, to cut that out and replace that because it's all one and doesn't come in little bits. So I'm just going to trim the word love away from the word birthday there. It's really easy to do. You've only got a few snips to do, and it's very, very easy to follow the line of the letters as well. And you can of course keep the birthday here, and you could use those on another part or another die cut later on of different colours to mix them. So I'll just cut out the word love there. I just need to take a detail glue. So this is a glue with a very fine tip applicator, and put this glue in small, really small amounts just along the word love there. And I just use tweezers to hold my letters still, and sort of hold them at the beginning and start at one end and just work your way along, gently pressing each letter down on top of the other one underneath, the purple one underneath, making sure it's all lined up just right. And at the end of the day, if you do get it slightly offset by accident and you have a slight sort of purple shadow, it's not a problem at all because it will coordinate, so it's fine. Just pop that little piece out of there. Lovely. Now I've got a little bit of glue and a little bit of purple on this corner. So what I'm going to bring in is a tool that I use a lot, I mean an awful lot. And it's the eraser, the adhesive eraser from CraftStash. It was only a couple of pounds, but honestly, it's lasted me years, and I just use it all the time for little bits like that, where I get a little bit of glue where it shouldn't be, and it just rubs it off. Obviously, make sure the glue's dry before you do that. So let's just bring this back into the point. I've lost my bone folder. I must grab myself another one because I don't know what I've done with it. Most likely it fell in the bin and I threw it out. That's usually what happens with my tools, but just using the edge of my poker tool there to secure some and strengthen some of those fold lines. I'm going to use this glue just to glue down the butterfly, so along the middle of the body, a little bit at the wings there, not too much, because we're going on to this arrow here, and it's nice because that kind of looks like it's almost floating there as well. It's got a little bit of dimension to it. And then on top of that is going to be the birthday love, and that will stand out nicely. So just hold that in the middle and add little bits of glue with your fine tip applicator all over the back of this die cut. Just have a look at it first of all and make sure you know whereabouts is going to stick to the front and where's going to be hanging loose almost, because you don't want to add glue where it's going to stick to the reverse of the card by accident. There we go. And place this directly over the centre of the butterfly there. Birthday love, all coordinated. Let's bring that down. Lovely. So that's a different shape card. That's the arrow fold card for you. You've got the template on Craft World. You can see this in just a moment, the photo of this. You'll be able to see that, hopefully that fold a little bit easier, like so. But it's really, really pretty, very different, and I'd love to see your take on it in the inspiration gallery on Craft World.